to Bestie Talks. I'm Chelsea, that's Corey, and we're talking. I don't see why you would think we're doing anything other than that because that's literally the name of this podcast. How are you today, Corey?
Doing better. Doing better now that I'm talking to you.
Oh,
How
I,
are you doing? You got your VR headset.
I
What? You get it
did
yesterday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Nice.
Been playing that so much.
There's a couple songs I need to suggest for you for Beat Saber.
You really
That
should.
I'll have to see if you can do. There's a few that are expert, but they're like really easy ones because
You
they're more
say
about.
easy, and I don't know what you think easy is, but it's not easy.
Okay, well, my sister's kind of a freak, but like
Yeah.
she started doing them on like hard, and there's a few songs that she can do on expert just because they are more dancing oriented opposed to like the technicalities of it. So you should be able to do them.
I did actually get my first S in hard mode today.
Oh, what song?
It was one of the actual songs, not a modded one.
Hmm. I did notice that I feel like because I can do expert to expert plus on most of the custom songs, but when it comes to the like actual songs, they are a little harder. Like I can do pop stars on expert, and I can do like crab rave on expert, but I can't do them on expert plus.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that they. But it's also been a while since I've tried them, so maybe they're a little better. But I know, like, with the Imagine Dragons pack that Bree had, some of them, even just on, like, hard, were still just, like, so difficult for me.
Yeah, it was really funny because what I'm doing is I have all of the songs
Mm-hmm.
listed in alphabetical order, including all my custom ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing from the top down, and I went from normal to hard, and then tried to move on to expert. Just in that little, every single time I go to expert, I die almost instantly.
Yeah. Well, that's how I started, too. When I first got my headset, I was doing them on hard. And then just after playing it, I usually do, like, a half hour a day. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on how hot it is.
Yeah.
But I usually do around half an hour a day, and yeah, now I can do expert on pretty much any of them. But yeah, when I first got the headset, I could only do hard or normal, and then I started kind of going up because yeah, I moved on to some of the more dancey ones for expert and kind of got the hang of those,
Mm.
and then started moving on to the more technical ones. There was one song that like I could not get past the first like 6 notes without failing, and now I can go through the whole song with ease. So you'll get there. You'll get there.
Eventually. What else have you been up to?
Oh gosh, what have I been up to? My cousin came over and we just kind of hung out. Mostly just talked a lot of D&D. Been doing a lot of D&D stuff, as you know,
Yeah.
which I'm very excited because Desi got her familiar, which I love. Anybody listening, we do have a D&D channel for our game that we do. I'll put a link in the description. I'm a little behind, but I'll get caught up hopefully soon here. Depends on how crappy work wants to be, but I'm trying to get them caught up.
You'll
Trying.
get there eventually.
I know. I was doing it where as soon as we finished the game, I had them edited. So at least we had them for a recap, but kind of got off of that because I got busy with other things.
I really just want the sound bites of last time on before we actually play the game is what I want.
I need to. So I posted episode 4, I think is the last one I posted. I need to find a sound clip for Ella. So if you listen through it and find a good one for Ella to stick in for the recap for the next episode.
I'll try. I do have work tomorrow, and I have this fancy new VR set, so we'll
I
see.
mean, no rush. I have a lot of clips for. Honestly, I think Lana had the most clips in this last one that I really wanted to use. But yeah, I had a lot of clips to choose from everybody, but I didn't really grab any Ella ones.
Was 4 the one where it had well, the beginning sound bite where I said, "Now can I break the doll"?
Yes. 4 is the one where Cal wasn't there. That was our little just like wandering around the town.
Yeah, I remember now.
So I'm sure there's something in there with Ella, but off the top of my head, I'm like, I can't really think of anything. She was just kind of showing us around the town and stuff and trying to find old Sammy. Anyway, getting on a completely different tangent. What else have you been up to?
I read part of my book.
Yes, which is kind of what we were supposed to be talking
Real long jingly. I picked up this book because of the murder podcast I listened to. My favorite murder.
You know what's funny is I think in every one of our podcasts, you mentioned this podcast.
Sorry, I just love it. I listen to it almost daily, okay? Because I'm trying to get caught up.
I just think it's funny. I think you've mentioned it in like every podcast that we've
I don't
done.
think I mentioned it last time. But,
Anyway, yes, continue.
anyways, so I picked up this book because of it. It's the annual The Stranger Beside Me, the shocking inside story of the serial killer Ted Bundy. Because I watched the Ted Bundy movie and I wanted more Bundy in my life.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were getting this book or that you had this book or whatever.
I was really excited to start reading it, and then I set it down on my shelf and didn't look at it for a while, and then not this last Friday, but the Friday this last Friday, excuse me. I picked it up and was like, okay, I have to read this book. And I started at the very beginning. At the very beginning, it has all the forwards, like the final chapter, question mark, part 1, and then part 2, and then there's a part 3. And this is before the actual book starts. And and then there was something else in there with like little things from people that thought that they ran into Ted. And I was struggling to get through all of that stuff so much.
That sounds like a lot.
It was, how many pages is that? Jesus Christ. Let me look.
That's like a lot of pages.
It says XXXVII. So 37 pages of just that before the actual story. And then I was like, okay, can this just be done with? Should I just stop here? Should I keep going? I'll start the first chapter. And then suddenly we're at chapter 5, and I'm like, how? Okay, so the actual story's good. It's just the forward sucks. Next time, don't read the forward. Just read the freaking story.
I normally don't, honestly. If there's a forward or like preface, I usually just kind of gloss over it and go immediately to the first chapter.
Yeah, but because it is a true story.
That's true. That's true, I guess.
The forward's there for a reason. So I had to read the forward. So it really it starts off with her explaining how Ted was raised, why he was basically made to think that his mom was his sister for a while because he was illegitimate, how he was raised, and how she met him in the crisis center. And that's as far as I got, really. It got to them meeting in the crisis center, them hanging out, becoming friends. And it makes me realize, I wonder how many of my coworkers are either actual or potential psychopaths.
Or your best friend, I'm just saying.
I mean, I know my best friend's a psychopath. I don't have to wonder. It's a fact.
That's what we should have called the podcast. My best friend, the psychopath.
My best friend, the psychopath. So if you do end up picking up this book, read the forward last. Because the actual heart, the meat of the book is actually pretty good. It's really well written. Holy shit. Sorry. My thing fell. It's really well written. And it gives you more inside information than you get from just watching a documentary.
That's that's the nice thing about books is I do feel like you get more in depth. I should have read that. I didn't even think about it. I have the Dance with the Devil book, which is the book about the whole Dear Zachary case.
Ooh.
I want to say it was the grandfather who wrote it.
Aww.
It's like it was written by the grandparents. I'm pretty sure. I I can't remember exactly, but I know it was written by somebody in the family who's close to the case. It goes into a lot more depth on like everything that happened, and so I've been meaning to read it. I got it for Christmas, I think, 2 years ago.
You
Um,
still haven't touched it?
no, I skimmed through it a little bit, but it's a pretty beefy book.
How many pages is that book?
299 cover to back.
Just the story part of this book is 550. So you want to talk about beefy books?
Yeah, I guess this one isn't that beefy. It's just I feel like the documentary goes into so much of it
Yeah.
that I'm curious what all else is in here, which is why I got it, because I've heard that it goes more in depth about like everything.
So yeah, there isn't really much that I can talk about without talking about stuff I haven't read yet. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I read it's a short story by, I'm probably gonna pronounce this name wrong, Neil Gaiman? Gaiman?
Something along those lines.
Do you know him?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I recognize the name and I've seen him in a few things, but I didn't realize like how big this guy was until I was like actually looking through everything, and I'm like, wow, he's done a lot of stuff. But yeah, so I read his short story Snow Glass Apples. Have you heard of that? Have you read it?
No.
Do you know what it's about at all?
No.
Okay, well, let me tell you, because it is right up, well, my alley. I don't know about your alley, but anyway, it's basically a retelling of Snow White, but it's supposed to be from like the stepmom's point of view.
Ooh.
And the whole thing is she's not actually evil. It's just she is viewed as evil because of everything that's happened.
So kind of like the Once Upon a Time route.
I don't remember Once Upon a Time because I never really watched it. It was kind of Fifi's thing, so it was on in the background a lot, but I couldn't tell you. I believe so, if I kind of remember. It's Regina's the stepmom, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of know her story. But yeah, basically the whole thing in this is like the stepmom marries the king and everything. And Snow White is actually a sadistic vampire child
What?
who she kills the king because she basically drains him of his blood, and takes over the kingdom. And like the queen suspects all this stuff, and so she's like, this little child is insane. And so she like tries to kill her, and she sends people to murder her and like all this stuff. And she's unsuccessful, and through a bunch of circumstances and things, Snow White eventually becomes queen because she hooks up with the prince. And everybody thinks that the stepmom is just an evil bitch when really she was trying to save the world from Snow White.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to go into a lot of stuff, but it was really interesting, and there's a graphic novel of it that's gorgeous.
Oh, I bet.
It was just really interesting. I love fairy tales where they're twisted, either just twisted in the fairy tale itself, or it is something where like the villain is actually not the villain. It's just the perspective, kind of like the Maleficent movies. Not
Yeah.
quite, but similar to that.
There are a bunch of the villain side books at Target
Yeah.
that I've been wanting to get and read, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fun ones out there. After I read this, I kind of looked into a couple different ones. I know there is one with like Maleficent. There's one with, I believe, Cinderella. Yeah, Cinderella.
There's one with Ursula, I know. I almost picked that one up a few times.
But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's just a little short story. It took me just like an hour to read it, kind of thing. It's really small. But yeah, it was really cool. And he published a book that has a whole bunch of different dark.
Wait, are you talking about Twisted Fairy Tales? It's an actual book?
No.
Okay, because I have that book on my bookshelf.
It is, hold on, Smoke and Mirrors is
Ooh.
what it's called. And it's just a collection of just twisted short stories on fairy tales and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited to get that one. Like I said, it'll be here tomorrow. So I plan on reading that. But yeah, this was one of the ones in there. And I think I was looking at it was a list on like BuzzFeed or something that was short stories that like scarred people for life. And this was one of them. Because there is like vampirism, there's some incest between her and the king. There's some pedophilia and necrophilia in there. It never goes into detail. It's more like hinted at for all those things. But it's like with the prince, the whole thing is like the queen wants to marry the prince, but like he can't get it up with her. And then he sees dead Snow White in the woods, and he like gets super turned on by like raping her.
Oh my god.
Because she is a dead creature, and yeah. There's some stuff in there, but again, it's really like tiny hinted at, but like I guess if those things really bother you, then yeah, it would be pretty disturbing. Speaking of that list though, there's another one on there that I started reading but didn't finish. It's called Serial.
With an S or a C?
S.
Okay.
And it's basically about this person who's driving in the middle of the night, I believe. Again, I didn't read the whole thing. I just read the description and kind of skimmed through it. But it's like a person in the middle of the night picks up a hitchhiker, and it turns out the hitchhiker is like a serial killer who is like planning on killing this person. But then it turns out the person driving is also a serial killer looking to kill someone. And so from what I like read, it doesn't really go it's not as interesting as it sounds like it could be. But I just thought that was a fun idea where it's like, oh yeah, huh. It's like that whole, I don't know if what is it? The whole like how do you know I'm not a serial killer? And the person replies like, well, it'd be weird to have two serial killers in one room kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the idea was fun, but when I was like skimming through it, it was actually kind of lame.
That reminds me of a short story that somebody wrote of a killer that snuck into this woman's bathroom and was hiding behind her shower curtain, which is why my shower curtain is constantly open. Um, um, and he's going to kill her, and it's all in his perspective, like, oh, I can't wait to kill you. And then she goes to the bathroom and takes a really nasty dump. And he just doesn't want to kill her anymore. He just wants out of that fucking room.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great story. I wish I could remember who wrote it.
That sounds hilarious. I was gonna say I think I've heard of that one, but no, I definitely haven't.
It's so good.
Yeah, I think I've heard of one where it was something similar, where they were hiding in the bathroom behind the shower curtain or something, waiting. There's a couple creepypastas where it's like something waiting under the bed.
Do you have one of the creepypasta collection books?
No, I didn't even know that that was a thing. Creepypastas are kind of interesting. We should do that sometime, is just like read our favorite like creepypastas or something.
What was the Ocarina of Time one? That one messed me up for a while.
The one with like the like haunted.
The haunted cartridge, yeah.
Yeah. That one, I don't know. It didn't really bother me that much. I was just kind of like, eh.
Because of how many games I had that were broken, it feels believable to me.
That makes sense. That makes sense. There was one I read that kind of like fucked me up for a while. The story itself wasn't that scary. I can't really even remember how it starts or anything, but it's like a person being tortured and like they're basically being murdered, and the whole story is like in their first person perspective kind of thing.
Oh god.
And they're talking about it the whole time, but they're very like calm and stuff, and they're just like, yeah, this person gets off on doing this and stuff. And then they turn it on the reader and they're like, kind of like, you're still here reading this when you could stop. I'm basically being murdered because you want to keep reading.
Oh, that's a mind fuck.
Yeah, it like fucked me up, and like I could not stop reading, even though they were like, "Yeah, I'm dying because of you, reader." And so it was just like, damn. I love meta shit like that though.
I don't remember if it was an actual book or just something I read on Tumblr or something,
Hmm.
but there was one about how I think it was just somebody read on Tumblr that somebody needs to write this book or whatever about how this book falls in love with you, and each page you turn, it gets closer to the end of your relationship with the book.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll go through and just kind of skim like the highest rated creepy pastas. Like some of them are pretty damn creepy. Some of them I'm just like, and then some of them I'm like, I don't know. This could very well be a real thing that
There
somebody's
was one, oh my
doing.
god, I'm sorry, I just remembered one where this kid did the balloon in the air thing where you write your address or the school's address and you get a letter back from somebody that
What?
finds it. So there's this, I think it was a creepy pasta. It might be something else I read online. I don't remember. But this group of elementary kids for their class all took balloons and wrote a little letter and tied it to the balloon and let it go. And when the balloon pops or whatever and comes back down to earth, whoever finds the letter will see the address for the school and can write back.
That doesn't sound safe even a little bit.
It was also written for the 90s, and
Right,
that
right.
kind of shit
Yeah.
happened in the 90s.
It's true. I do remember being in like elementary school and we would like write to pen pals that the teachers would get online or something weird like that. Whereas like
Uh-huh.
yeah, we were writing to people like overseas and it would take like weeks to get a maybe reply back.
So it's based on that, and the kid gets finally gets a letter back. Everybody else got one before him, and he gets his letter back, and the teacher hands him the envelope, and he goes, "Don't be upset." And the kid's like, "Okay." And so he takes it out, and it's just this blurry picture that he can't really make anything out of.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
And then he keeps getting these pictures, and eventually they end up going to his house. And he starts to realize he's in all of these blurry pictures.
Hmm.
And then his mom finds one in the mailbox, and there's no stamp,
That's creepy.
which means he was at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really well written story, and it fucked me up for a while.
There was one. I don't think it was a creepy pasta. It was something that I saw and it was so creepy that I ended up like writing a script for it for one of my classes because we had to write like a scary story. And I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, it's basically some like kid lying in bed counting the minutes kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And they're like hiding under the blanket and everything. And the whole thing is like this like creature or something is under the bed and like murdered their parents. And this person, like this kid, is basically just waiting under the blanket to eventually come out and just die because this thing is going to get them as soon as they come out. And
Wow.
it's the whole thing is this kid is like, oh yeah, I'm pretending to be asleep. I'm pretending to be asleep. This thing isn't going to get me so long as I like do that. And then they eventually like come out of the bed and written on the wall in blood is like, I know you're awake. And,
Oh.
and that's like how it ends. And I'm just like,
Oh.
oh, thanks.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some fun creepy shit out there.
Yeah, this is why I stopped reading to my cat.
Why?
Because first because I have those two of the um Grimm's fairy tales books.
Uh-huh.
So I'd be reading those to them to Jin because he likes to listen to me because he's crazy and obsessed with me. Um, but then I got to the end of those and I started reading the creepy pasta one, and I'm just like, I shouldn't be reading this out loud.
Yeah, I used to do that with Slinky too, where I would read my Grimm fairy tale book to him, which I love. There's some fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's some dark stuff, but it's definitely not as bad as I thought. There's actually a lot of really funny ones in there.
Yeah, lots
For
of
a
really funny
while,
ones.
yeah, for a while, me and my sister would just we would just, every time she came over, we would just read the different ones. And like, one phrase that they do a lot in that, she actually took a Grimm fairy tale class in college, and they like wrote, I think in Dutch on the board, this like phrase, and she like instantly knew what it was because we read it so many times and everything. But it was like, they do a variation of this thing where it's like, and if they haven't stopped dancing, they're still
Still
dancing.
doing that to this day.
Yeah. And if they haven't died, they're still living. And it's like, okay. And there's so many stories that end like that. And it's just like the funniest thing to me for some reason.
The
I would
cat
get
in the
that.
box.
I would get that tattooed somewhere.
That's what you should get your sister for Christmas, is a t-shirt that says that.
She has a painting on her wall that says that.
Okay.
But I should get her a shirt. No, I need to get her a shirt that says, there's this comment that somebody did on our Little Baby's ice cream video.
Uh-huh.
Somebody did a comment that's just, it's so funny. Every time I see it, we like crack up laughing, and I'm like, I need to put that on a shirt and give that to my sister for Christmas. But also, like, nobody would understand it. It's something like, hold on, I need to find this comment because it's so fucking hilarious. You talk about something while I find it.
Don't put me on the spot like this.
You got this.
Once there was the sun, bright and warm and beautiful. Now there's no more sun. Winter has killed everything.
It's the way they phrased the comment is just like, what the hell? What were you on when you like made that comment? But it's
Can I ask you a question while you're doing that?
yeah.
This is an icebreaker question, and I want to know what your psychopathic answers are going to be.
Okay.
Say the first two things that come to mind. If you could have any liquid come out of both of your index fingers, any liquid in the world, what would the two of them be?
Oh man. Apple juice and cream cheese.
Cream cheese? Cream cheese is a liquid.
If it's like stirred up enough, it could be pretty liquidy.
No,
Why can't I have cream cheese come out of my finger?
because you're a fucking psychopath.
That's not a psychopathic thing. That's being practical. I can have apple juice, so I can just suck on my finger. Apple juice. And if I get hungry, it's like, oh look, there's some cream cheese also.
But with apple juice, everybody's gonna think it's pee.
Who's everybody? No.
Everybody that sees you with sucking on your finger and yellow liquid coming out.
Nah, it smells like apples. They're gonna know.
Not if it's warm.
What would you do?
I don't know, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Part of me wants silly strain for one finger, and the other, I kind of just, I don't know. I need it to be something I can survive with. So,
Apple juice and cream cheese. I'd be set for life. Think of the cheesecake you can make. You could have index finger cheesecake. Who doesn't want that?
Me.
You're wrong.
I don't want Cory finger cheesecake, okay?
I think if you like gave it a chance, it'd be okay. Oh my gosh, I can't find this comment. Did it get deleted? Who would have deleted it? It's something like, I want to lick all the marshmallow fluff off your body, spit it in a jar, and feed it to cancer cats.
What?
Yeah, it's something weird like that. I know specifically it was spit it into a jar and give it to cancer cats. Like, I wish I could find the comment, but I have too many comments and it's not showing me all of them. But
Who the fuck would comment that?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Internet's
But, yeah.
weird, man.
I mean, a lot of the comments on this video are really weird. It's like a lot of people with fetishes. Fetishes?
Fetishes? What?
Have I never told you that story? Apparently not.
No.
Okay, let me tell you this fetishes story. When I worked at Subway, there was this guy, Sergio, who I worked with, and he was awesome. He was probably the best coworker I've ever
Was
had.
he blonde and part of a gang?
He wasn't blonde, I'll say that.
Okay.
There was some sketchy stuff with him, and he just kind of vanished one day, and nobody knew where he went or anything like that. Anyway, Sergio, he was like the coolest guy. Super weird though. I don't know how really to describe Sergio, but he was an awesome little dude. We were making sandwiches as you do at Subway, and I don't know what he was doing. He would always have the weirdest conversations with our like customers. Like there was this mom who would come in a lot, and there was one day he was talking to her because she was a regular, and he just casually brought up how he like had a weird sex dream about her the night before. Just casually said that while he was ringing up her sandwich. He was like, you know, last night I had a really weird sex dream with you in it. Yeah, I just remember it was specifically you. Like, super casual about it. And I remember being horrified and looking at him like, Sergio,
Oh my
can't
god.
say that to a customer. She never came back.
I was gonna say, did she ever come back?
She never came back. But anyway, that's the kind of person he was. So,
Wow.
and like, bless him. He was like my age and everything, so like mid to late 20s, but like he just had no, I don't know, he just didn't realize that
He didn't have that filter.
yeah, he just had no filter, and it was like he just thought it was all fine and dandy. I don't know. But anyway, there was one day we were making sandwiches, and he just was like casually talking to the customer, and he said something about like, oh yeah, you know, I can't even remember what it was, but he said something about, yeah, some people have foot fetishes, and I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know how some people have like foot fetishes. I don't. And I was like, fetishes? What is that word? And he's like, you know, people have like weird fetishes, you know. I don't have any, but you know, some people do. And I was like, the whole time I'm making the sandwich, I'm like, what the hell is that word? What is he saying? So after we got done, we went in the back and I was like, can you write that word down? And he did, and I just stared at it and I was like, fetishes? Is that what you're trying to say? Fetishes? And he's like, oh, is that how you pronounce that? And I was like, yes, Sergio, fetishes is the word.
Can't breathe.
So now, whenever somebody talks about fetishes, I'm just like, ah, yes, fetishes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he totally didn't understand. Like he was the coolest little guy, but like man, there were some weird things with him. There was like one time there was a sex shop like a block or two down from Subway. And this one time Sergio on his break, I wasn't there. It was another coworker of mine, but she told me how on his break he went down to this sex shop and got like a torso, you know, of like a female.
Okay.
For him. And she knew that he got it because it was just sitting in the back.
Oh my god.
And like he went home and whatever. And she told me about it. And I'm like, that's interesting, but okay. And again, Sergio had a huge crush on me. And so the next day he came into work when we were working together and he was telling me, oh yeah, I just got this new girlfriend.
Oh no.
And I don't remember what he said her name was, but he was like, yeah, I got this girlfriend. She's really great. She's awesome. And like, I knew he was talking about the sex toy because Shatoya told me about it. And I was just like, yeah, you have a new girlfriend? He's like, yeah, she's a really great girl. Like she's awesome. We hang out all the time. And I'm like, okay. This went on for weeks. For weeks, he would brag to me about how amazing this girlfriend of his was and this and that. And like all of us girls at Subway knew who his girlfriend was. And I remember there was one day we were just like kind of teasing him about it, and we're like, "You should really bring your girlfriend here sometime so we could like meet her. Like, it sounds like you two
Oh
are getting really
no.
serious." And he was like, "Oh, well, she's kind of shy. I don't know about that." We're like, "No, it'll be fine. We're not gonna like say anything to embarrass you. We just want to see this girl you keep talking about." And he was like, "Oh, well, she's just real shy. I don't want to embarrass her or anything." And so like, for days we were trying to convince him to bring this girlfriend to come meet us and everything. And then finally he like cracked one day. He's like, "Danielle, I have to tell you, there is no girlfriend."
She doesn't have a very good head on her shoulders.
And I was just like, "Oh, Sergio, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I wanted to impress you." And I was just like, I don't remember if I told him I knew or not, but I was just like, "It's okay, buddy, it's okay."
But you said he just disappeared one day?
Yeah, there was like one day he was like, "Hey, I have like a family thing to do, so I'm gonna be gone a couple days." And we're like, "Oh, okay, sure, family thing, that's cool." And he just never came back. We kind of think he might have gotten like deported back to Mexico or something. We're not really sure. He just kind of vanished, and like nobody could get a hold of him or anything. I doubt he died, but like he just vanished and never came back one day, and we're like, "Okay, I guess Sergio's gone now."
Wow.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. So, I have a lot of interesting subway stories.
You have so many Subway
I have so
stories.
many subway stories. Gosh, that could be a whole podcast in itself, honestly. All the subway all the subway stories. I'm every time I see videos with subway stuff, I'm just like, "Oh man, here we go. Subway, eat fresh my ass."
I mean,
I mean, right now it is. I just showered a little while ago, but not always, let me tell you. This podcast felt weird today.
yeah, kind of all over the place today.
I mean, that's fine. It's fine.
Do we want to see about doing another guest episode?
Yeah, you were saying Steven?
Yeah, Steven wants to, so maybe we need to set up an actual time for all three of us, though.
Yeah.
So we will converse about that. I will start a chat with the two of you, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be fun. You said that he wanted to talk about like what our favorite anime was.
Yeah, that was one of the topics he said that would be good.
Oh man, that reminds I this is what spurred the Never Have I Ever discussion in our D&D group. But there was an ad on Facebook that was for like anime style Never Have I Ever. And I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of fun," because it was like a drinking game also where it was like never have I ever gone to a convention in cosplay.
That'd be fun. We should get that.
Yeah, right? I thought about getting it. It seemed like fun. So I thought about doing that. There was a few because I was looking at the example questions. There were a couple that it was like if it was like never have I ever, but it also had like different truth or dare elements to it and stuff. But it was all like anime related, and it was
Nice.
things like if you can't do this, then you have to take like 3 drinks of your drink and stuff like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
Corey, what if we did a drunk episode?
it'd be a lot of me crying.
I mean, same. You would also just hear me snoring at one point.
Yeah, that's true. For me, I just get really sad about everything. I get so sad. I get like, "I don't understand why the thing is doing this stuff." Basically, I normally do, but it's
Whinier?
it's a little more whiny, and it's just sad. There's a couple videos of me drunk on my not my Facebook, my YouTube,
Drunk on my Facebook.
drunk on my Facebook. Yeah, but it's usually just me sad and stuff. I remember this one time. It kind of depends what I drink, also. But there was one time we got like wasted for Halloween, and we had a bunch of people over. And this one guy who was very, very drunk, he was like, "Let's play Pokemon." And I was like, "Okay, Pokemon." I'm still very drunk at this point too, but I was just like, "Yeah," because when I'm drunk, I'm still very aware of everything.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I was just like, "Yeah, sure, we can play Pokemon." So I broke out my like cards, and we're like trying to play a Pokemon game, and this guy, he was so drunk, like he was throwing out like basically all the rules, and I was just like, no, that's not how you do it. Like we got in a huge fight because at one point he was like, you can have 6 Pokemon on your party and then 1 in play, and I was like, no, you can't, because that would be 7 Pokemon. You can't have 7 Pokemon. You can only have 6. And he's like, no, you can have 6 on your party and then 1 at play. And I was like, no, you can't. And we got into it. I think Fifi eventually had to step in and be like, okay, I think we're done playing Pokemon. But like, he was ready to fight, and I was ready to fight because I'm like, no, I know for a fact I'm right about this. But like, being both drunk, we were just like not ready to admit defeat at all.
Man, I
Mostly hit.
almost bought Pokemon cards today. And then I saw the Toxtricity box and I got sad.
Yeah, I still haven't bought any Pokemon cards in so long. It still like triggers my.
It still hurts.
It still hurts. It still hurts. It's like I still have my binder full of stuff, but it's still just like I lost so many cards, so many years of collecting, hundreds and hundreds of dollars, all gone to waste.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I miss Toya. We had so much fun in that car. Didn't we take him for the cupcake excursion?
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Yep. That was probably one of the last times I had Toya, actually.
Yeah.
I believe that was 2016, and he got stolen at the end of summer 2016.
What's a good thing that happened to you this week?
What's a good... Well, it's Monday.
Since we last recorded.
You know what's weird is, like, the week just, like, flew by.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I know I did stuff this week, because I was very busy, because I meant to do the D&D recap, but I just like never had time. Yeah, I'm like, I guess I worked, not a lot, but I did work, and then I was watching my cousin, and then I had my D&D games. What's a good thing that happened to you this last week?
Well, you already know it. It's my VR set.
I was gonna say, was it just your VR set?
Yeah.
Are you going to get Job Simulator?
I have Job Simulator.
Or not Job, Vacation Simulator.
It's on my wish list.
Yeah, it's been on mine too. I wasn't
probably
sure.
Next paycheck.
Yeah, I'm like, it's probably fun. I think it's like $30 still right now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I was like, it's kind of a lot for something that's not like that exciting. Like Job Simulator, I think I bought for like $20, which I'm like, yeah, it's like a $20 game. I'll have to come over sometime and do some stuff.
Like this weekend?
I'll think about this weekend. I've done so much the last couple weekends. I'm just kind of like, I kind of just want a weekend to do nothing.
You say that every time, and then you do something else for that weekend.
I know!
Asshole.
Like this one was like my cousins. Like I did not plan that. They like messaged me I think Tuesday, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to like watch her?" And I'm like, But they were like, "She'll go to your place." And I was like, "Oh, well, if she comes here, that's not as bad." But...
So, thanks everybody for listening. I suppose we'll talk to you next week. Don't go licking marshmallow bluff off of people's bodies and giving it to cancer kittens.
What are we doing next week?
Let's leave that up in the air. I have more to talk about when we don't plan out what we're going to talk about. So...
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I guess we'll see what happens.
We shall. Bye.
Bye.